Hey guys, Presley here. And last month we collected over $70,000, $70,800 to be exact, on a YouTube channel, averaging less than 1,000 views per video. We're averaging something like 952 views a video, and yet we collected over $70,000 for this client just from their YouTube channel. And if you're somebody that's in a smaller TAM or you think your niche is too specific to be on YouTube, this video is going to want to have you posting videos because I'm going to break down the 4 pillars that actually made this possible, so you can just copy this and potentially even do better than us. So the first pillar is focusing on topics that you know will get prospects over the line. That's a different line of thinking than most YouTube strategists or most YouTube gurus would suggest, because they're always thinking about what's popular right now, what can we go and copy, how can we just go and copy viral videos, right? How many times have you heard, oh, just go copy what's working right now? And the reality is, if you're operating in a really small TAM or an offer that targets a higher, like more upper end of the market, that's not going to be relevant for you, because a lot of those topics, like, there's just no crossover to what you're actually doing. You can take a little bit of inspiration, but it's just not relevant advice for you, right? And a lot of people get really frustrated with that advice because it's just like there's really no nuance at all. So let's actually change that line of thinking and flip it on its head and actually instead focus what topics or what things can we go and make videos on that would get somebody that's already in the DMs ready to buy, that's kind of on the fence. What videos would get them over the line? When we start from there, we actually come up with a lot of ideas, because a lot of people would disqualify these ideas because, oh, it's too niche, or we got to get some views first before we make these tactical videos. We got to eliminate that line of thinking, focus on this, right? Because at any given time, there could be like 9 people in your pipeline that might have just stopped engaging the DMs with your setter, or maybe people that were on the fence, they just weren't in that stage of the buying journey yet, but now they are 2 months later. How can we re-engage those? Well, if we just happen to answer that specific objection or question or set of questions and objections that they had, they would probably be ready to buy, and it would probably push them over the edge. So it's identifying what those questions or objections actually are, and then making videos on it. It's pretty easy to do if you have sales calls recordings or applications where people are like listing off like what they need help with. This is going to be pretty easy if you're collecting some form of data or recording sales calls. And the reason this works is because very few people are focused on specificity right now. Everyone wants to go broad. Everyone just wants to talk about like why the business model is the best without actually breaking down like the nuances of it. And if you can get into the weeds when your competitors aren't, this is going to give you a huge unique selling point over everyone else trying to sell the same offer, because it's going to just demonstrate a level of deeper knowledge that no one else has, right? And especially if you can make someone say, this guy or girl can solve what I feel are problems unique to me that no one else is experiencing. Like, this guy's speaking directly to my problems. You've already won the war. It's pretty much over at that point, and you're going to get them as a customer, right? And what's really important to understand about this, and where most people just kind of forget, is YouTube videos are not just going to be shown on YouTube, right? Obviously, you want to get the organic reach. That's like the whole reason you get on the platform, is to reach new people. However, even if you really suck at content, but you know what you're talking about, at least making a YouTube video means you have a sales asset that your sales team can use to make setting and closing 10 times easier. They can go and re-engage dead leads. They can push people over the edge. And you could probably unlock, like, if you have like, I don't know, a decent amount of Instagram DMs, you probably can unlock anywhere from like 50 to 200 to 300K in pipeline value that's just sitting there just by going and re-engaging those people with solid YouTube videos. And that's what most people don't consider. And it's never really a waste of time, because there's always a way you can put these assets to use. Second is going to be demographic resonance. This is also very important, because most people are just going with generic copy, generic scripts, without really thinking about who's constituting the largest percentage of their buyers. There's a huge difference between the messaging of trying to make money online, or getting rich, or buying a Corvette C8 versus, paying for your kids' tuition, building wealth on the side, right? Building a second source of income outside of your job. You're going to speak to different avatars with different messaging. And most people just forget this, and they just go with generic copy that is trying to speak to everyone and trying to go broad, as most people would suggest. They're not speaking to anyone, right? If you find that, almost half of your people that are buying your program that are, customers of yours are over 30 years old, and they already have high-paying W-2 jobs. They're not really looking to quit it, but they're just looking for like a second source of income. Well, that's going to change how you write the scripts and how to write the copy. And rather than hitting them with the generic, like quit their job or escape the matrix slop, you can be more tasteful in your language. You can frame it as a wealth building strategy. You can talk about paying for their kids' tuition. You can talk about like maybe getting time back in the day, right? And the framing is going to mean a lot more when you understand who you're speaking to, because you can hit way harder and you can actually go and disqualify people that don't have money and speak even more closely to the people that have money. And this is where people get really scared because they don't want to disqualify anyone or like try to like, they think they're like narrowing their customers, which is exactly what you want to do if you're selling a more, specific offer with a smaller TAM. And again, it's just everything's going to hit way harder when you know what your outcomes, your ICP actually cares about, right? Not everyone wants to drive a C8. Not everyone wants to just get rich, right? And then we're going to talk about this a little bit in the next pillar, but there's going to be different segments of your market. And when you understand what the biggest segment is or the most pertinent segment is, and maybe the segment that has the most money, that's where you can double down on the messaging and you can be more specific in going in, speaking to that people with the copy that you write. And if you haven't done market research yet, if you're not already like collecting surveys and data from people that onboard or come to your program, if you're not getting this from sales calls, this is something you absolutely need to be doing because it'll be a huge game changer in actually going and creating content that makes people say, wow, this guy's really speaking to me right now. And piggybacking off that, you guys got to include your worst testimonials and your case studies alongside your best. This is something that's actually been really surprising to us. A big number on your case study or your testimonial doesn't necessarily mean it's a compelling case study. A lot of people will cherry pick their best case studies. We've tried this with clients and use those over and over. And what this actually does is it tends to hurt relatability and believability. Because number one, not everyone even believes that you can like make 80K a month, 100K a month with a certain biz op, especially if they've never even made $1,000 with it. It just doesn't seem attainable for them. And not only that, but some people just genuinely don't believe it's possible because it's so far removed from their current situation. Whereas, including some of those less impressive results, like the 0 to 6K a month or the 0 to 4K a month, actually helps with believability. And it's also going to resonate with a larger percentage of the total audience. Because remember, a lot of people will project their desires onto the audience. Like, you might be a super ambitious person. You want to scale to, 10 million a year. Your audience does not want a 1 million a year business. Most people don't even want that, right? That's a very small segment of the market. And when you understand that most people are just looking to get by or be comfortable or, have some kind of basic financial cushion, you'll understand that just including those really outlier testimonials are actually just going and disqualifying too many people. And you're going to realize that like including those more believable or relatable stories might actually work better, because sometimes a 0 to 6K a month student that was in debt, that had a bad family situation that they needed to take care of and they needed to find a way to make money for, that might actually be a much stronger story than the guy that went from like 0 to 30K a month in 1 month, right? So keep that in mind, that being a little bit more diverse in the case studies and the testimonials that you include in your content, even if you feel like they're worse on paper, is actually going to position you much stronger than somebody who just cherry picks your testimonials, because there's going to be a way stronger element of believability, and you're going to be able to speak to more avatars within your buyers. And then number 4 is routing everything back to a free course VSL. Cannot emphasize this enough. This format has consistently worked for pretty much all of our clients and is the best way to sell without selling. If you don't have a 60-minute plus free course on your channel, make one. This is going to be one of your best uses of time in 2025, because this is an evergreen asset that's going to be relevant for your channel for at least a year before you have to go and update the information. You're going to be sending this to people for a while. Your sales team is going to be using this for a while. This is perfect for when some of your videos, they might be shorter, they might be less dense, might not have as much proof to really go and CTA hard at the end. You don't have to go CTA hard to the coaching or the link in the description all the time. You can just CTA to the free course, because the free course is really just going to be a VSL that does the CTAing, and you can do it shamelessly because, throughout the video, you're just providing so much value and just expert level knowledge that people are not going to, give you shit for CTAing or really selling coaching throughout. It allows you to just drop subtle seeds and plant seeds throughout the video. You don't just have to do a CTA at the end, the last 5 minutes of a 2-hour course. You can kind of just sell them throughout very subtly and planting the seeds, mentioning people, oh, actually, when I taught this strategy to Chris, this actually helped him go from like 5K to 20K a month, right? And you're planting seeds throughout the video, and they're being sold the entire video without knowing it. So rather than having to feel like you have to go and squeeze a tight CTA in every video and sell really hard, you can just go and CTA, oh, actually, just click the link around this video somewhere. I have a whole free course about this, check that out. And it's a really, really seamless and kind of sneaky way to get people to buy from you and get them to a free resource that is very low friction, but is going to do the selling for you. So if you don't really like selling, or you feel like there's some videos on your channel where you're not comfortable going and CTAing at the end of, just send it back to the free course. That's going to do all the selling for you, and it's going to completely change your life and continue to get views 365 days plus after posting it. So these are the 4 pillars that helped us actually get this result. If you want to learn more about what it looks like to work with us, there's going to be some links in my bio for that, but hopefully you learned something, and hopefully this has broken some limiting beliefs around posting on YouTube and just pushing your offer, which you think is too specific. Promise it's not. You just need to get better. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.